We're live. Hello, hello, hello. So, hello everyone. Welcome to Liveshow for Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. New series for us. I'm very excited that both of you are here. So, I know I finished on Friday. Kira, you said you finished today?
4 a.m. Eastern time.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And we've befuddled Femke, and she thought that it was the same time as always, which
my planning was off once again. So once again, I have not finished it. But if it would have been at 4, I would have finished it.
Oh, but you're so close. You said 75%. What page is that?
I'm not sure. I don't have it physically.
Okay.
So let me just see what the chapter says. Chapter 27.
Okay, so that's like 300. Oh yeah, so yeah, you were close.
I would have finished it. I actually really started getting into it at noon, which is like 3 hours ago for me, and I basically finished the 75% in 3 hours. So I would have finished it.
It's very quick, readable.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hello. Well, hello there. I've seen a wee bit of hype on the Twitter timeline. Curious to find out what it's all about. Yep. 4 a.m. Yes. Well,
no, I woke
9, right?
Huh?
For you, that's like 9 or what time?
Well, no, it's 9 a.m. It's 4 a.m. I don't know for me.
Oh, you woke up at 4 a.m. Okay.
Sorry. I woke up at 4 a.m., finished the last 65 pages I had, and then went back to sleep.
You were like, I must.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, welcome.
Happy to have you.
Yes. Tell us about the book because I cannot recall anything. Clearly, I did not do the homework this time either. Sorry, folks. All good. So, Black Sand by Rebecca Roanhorse. It's set. Well, like it's kind of like a running timeline, like a ticking bomb kind of story. So we kind of jump in different timelines, but essentially it's set in this world where there's the city of Tova, and there's like several houses that make up this like priesthood, or there's houses, then there's a priesthood. And many years ago, there was a massacre where the Crow tribe, I don't know what to call them, the clan got massacred. The Carrion Crow got massacred. Can you hear me? Because I froze on my screen, but
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
Your image is frozen, but your sound has not.
As long as you can hear me, I guess.
So yeah, wondering if it was me, to be honest, because my Wi-Fi is also acting up a bit, so.
No. Oh, there we go. Okay. Anyway, so Carrion Crow, there was a massacre that happened, and now it's been 20 years later, 30 years? I don't remember exactly, but there's a prophecy that the Crow god will be reborn and bring redemption or revenge for his people. And then we follow this guy whose mother decided that he's going to be the reborn god. So she blinds him and carves symbols in his body to make him a vessel for a god. And then human sacrifices herself. And now it's 20 days to the D-Day of the Convergence. So yeah, I don't know if did I miss things out? There's not pirates, but there's sailing. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. No, I think you summed it up pretty well, actually.
Thank you. It's like a pre-Columbia Americas, but it's a fantasy, so it's not like a historical fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that basically means Aztecs and Incas and Mayas and those kinds of civilizations, right?
Yes. She actually, in her acknowledgements, kind of explained.
See, I haven't reached the acknowledgement yet, so.
Yeah, it's that's fair. Pre-Columbian cultures of the America. So it's kind of influenced by various cultures in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. But also, oh no, sorry, that's what she says. Usually you find, and Americas you don't really find that. But yeah, I'm just reading. I forgot. Oh, there is. Navigational skills of the Teak were inspired by traditional Polynesian sailing methods. The languages in the story were drawn from Yucatec Maya for the Crescent cities and from Tewa for the Tovans. So yeah, so it's basically different, Mayan, Aztec, that kind of thing.
Cool.
Okay, let me just catch up before we dive into it. Have not been reading, really been into list challenges. Thank you. Hello, halfway through my third read of the book. Okay.
And I couldn't even finish my first time in time.
I assume you liked it then, that's good. Is that third read an indication that it's winning book for you? It's like, nah. Yeah, they were in literal pirates, but there was sailing. And it got me in such a mood that I've rewatched Pirates of the Caribbean because I was like, yes.
Which ones? Just the first one?
Just the first one. I was like tempted to do one a day, but then only the first one's like really, really, really good. So
I recently rewatched like all of them, and I was like, the first one's still the best, but I still really appreciate the second and third one too. And then from the fourth one, it's like, what the hell is this?
I pretty much agree. But let's talk about that later. Let's talk about Black Sun first. So, Kira, tell me, what's your rating? What did you think? And then I was thinking, because it's like we can go per storyline or like per character kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah. I think I would give it like a 4.5. I think it's definitely like a very close 5-star for me. Probably like one of the closest ones I've had in a while. Really enjoyed it. It was very fast paced. It was very like well spaced out, like in the details. Like I didn't feel like there was like a lot of filler in it. Like I feel like it was all like you know, like everything like kind of added to the progress of the plot line on all sides.
Makes sense. What about you, Femke?
So obviously I haven't finished it. Right now I'm probably leaning towards like 4.5. Depends on what the finale is going to be. I'm not necessarily fond of like Naranpa's storyline. I don't like her. I don't know.
Yeah. We can get into it in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, but that, so far like that for me, you know, to talk about rating is kind of keeping it down, because like the storyline when we're on the boat, I'm like, yes, I want more of this. And then when we get to her, I'm like, do we have to? So that's like balancing the rating a little bit. That's why it's not quite at a 5-star. But like I said, it depends. If the finale is really great, then it might still become a 5-star.
Fair. I mean, I pretty much agree. I loved it. I think it had such a strong beginning with the first chapter, just like hitting you. Like we read it together with Kira in the live shows and in the reading sprints, and we both were like, "Oh my god, the beginning." And I feel like, yeah, for me, it's either like a 4.5 or a 5, and I think maybe even a 5. I'm like, why be stingy? But I haven't done the compile thing yet. I totally agree though. I was obsessed with the boat storyline, like really loved it. Now Rampa, it's not that I didn't enjoy what was going, like the political backdrop of it. I found it really interesting, but her as a character, I could like
I don't like her. Like I don't mind what's happening, but I don't like her. It's like, how are you still not seeing this? This happened to you 3 times now, and how are you still just, you know, doing this?
Yeah, do you agree, Kira, that like did you have a preferred storyline, or were you like?
I did prefer the boat storyline, but I don't think like I didn't mind her Narapa's perspective, because it kind of gave you like an insight like into the politics like and what was happening like inside the city that was going to lead up to the end point. So
Yeah.
I think she gave, and I like the fact like her going to see her brother, because I feel like that further expanded like on the outskirts of the city and like how, you know, how like the politics like were so like widespread, because like there's so much politically like going on under the surface, like between everything that's happening like with all the different factions of the religions, and then you have, you know, like the one who isn't religious but still kind of has his own self-interest.
Yeah, I think I like 100% agree with what you said. Like, I think the storyline itself was interesting. Seeing the political things were interesting. I think taking it out would have like not hit at the end as much, because you wouldn't understand all the baggage. For me, it was like, why make her like 35 years old? Because her behavior felt like a 20-year-old, and it really frustrated me with like how politically unsavvy and how kind of clueless she was. And I was like, I don't understand why you expect people to follow you. You've not shown me anything worth following, because you're very, like, she's got good principles. She does. And I appreciate her wanting to change the world for the better and make it more equal and better and more modern. And I love all those things. But she's very incompetent, at least from what I've read it as. And I felt like that really drove me crazy, because I'm like, you're too old to be this incompetent, and I don't see why the person chose you for this like highest honor. So I just wanted her to like give me like some scene where she's learned, but every time she's surprised by the betrayal after people shown her they're gonna betray her. I was like, why are you so trusting? Like, come on now, like you're too old. So I feel like for me, I was like, if she was like 19 to 20, I would have been like, this makes sense. Like she was just got this role. It was way out of her league. Fair enough. But I felt like, come on, you've been in this place for 20 years. How do you not have a single friend but one? And like, how do you not know these people well enough to like play them a little bit? So that's how I felt. But I agree that the storyline and political stuff was really, really interesting.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think, you know, the storyline itself was definitely important and interesting. I just didn't like her as a character.
Yeah. The ego girl was eating her up when she was like, oh, she's so young and she's been here only a year longer than me, but she's too young. And I'm like, she's wiping the floor with you, like Abba or something like that her name was. I was like, she's legit wiping the floor with you. What are you on about?
Yeah.
You're told to be this incompetent. I mean, in real life, people have their stuff, but in a book, I'm like, come on now.
Yeah.
It got embarrassing. 19. Yeah. But I am curious to see where she grows in the book too, because of where we leave her at end of book 1. Like I really, really hope she'll take lessons and become mature and a bit more savvy. And I do want her to like succeed. I just want her to earn it, because I feel like she's got ways to go. Yes, she doesn't know to adapt. She's very like, this is my path. This is what I want to do. Why are people not going with me? But she doesn't appreciate that she's an outsider, and she needs to play the game a little bit. Was there anything else about that storyline that you like were burning to talk about? I did really like the brother. I thought that was super interesting. The fact that he helped her, I was like, why? She's done nothing for you. But he was very nice, even though he's like some big criminal underlord. So I hope that he has a bigger role. For that storyline, I also was surprised. Like, I quite like the brother of the Carrion Crow. I'm forgetting his name. Something. I quite like his storyline. I find it really interesting to be in the military school, and then him coming back and like all that. And I was hoping he would play a bigger role. So I'm really hoping he will in book 2. And I thought him and Naranpa would have had an interesting storyline together, but it didn't really happen this book. So maybe it'll happen in the next book.
Yeah, I would definitely have liked to see more from the perspective, I guess, from like the Carrion Crow clan, I guess. You know, like, what are the motivations, what is happening, just more from those kinds of perspectives. And also what Hanan said, to see more of like the priesthood itself, instead of all like the ceremonial bits and everything, more like, what are they actually doing? Because like what I've seen so far, like I really understand that people don't really listen to them anymore, because they're not showing me any reason that they should be listening to them or following them, or however you want to describe it.
Yeah, I think it was weird that we never actually saw her scry the future or do any like reading of the future, even though that's their main purpose. And I didn't really understand, because she was like, it's not magic, it's science. I'm like, I wish we saw that, because I kind of forgot that she's meant to be able to do this. And I was like, also, how can you be this bad at your job if you can see the future? It's kind of embarrassing. But yeah, maybe next book. Although I feel like this book would have been good, because they were like in the status quo, so we could have seen what the status quo was like before we break it. Yeah, the concept of the military school being more of a place teaching war as a complete last effort to maintain peace was cool. The philosophy was cool. Yeah, I think that was a really interesting bit. I think maybe I wanted even more of it because we were only there like one chapter, I think. But yeah, that storyline is good. I was really interested. What about the boat then? Let's talk about the boat. So on the boat, that's two characters mainly. So we have Serafio. I kept saying Sergio before when I was talking to Hannah
We
about
can
it.
call him Sergio. That's fine.
No, but it was so bad because I kept saying Sergio. Then I was doing a voice note later. I was like, wait, did I call him Sergio? His name's Serafio. I was like, where the fuck did I get Sergio from? But anyway, Serafio. So Serafio is the vessel for the crow god. So he believes that his destiny is to become the crow god. So he's on a journey to go back to the city of Tova, and he hitches a ride with this captain called Ziala. I think that's how you say her name. And she is half Teak, or she is Teak. And Teak are these, I mean, they're kind of like portrayed as this island, I don't want to like spoil it, but island nation. And it's just women, and they have some special powers so they can sing, use their voice to like sing. And this singing with the capital S is like almost like a power to calm the oceans and influence people. So she's the captain of the boat, and he gets passage on the boat. And yeah, I really love that storyline. I think it was just like such an amazing. First of all, I love like sailing, like fantasy, when they're like either pirates or in a boat or something. I don't know, just really fun. And I think it was done really well. And I think Ziala was a super interesting character just on her own, and her origins. We don't really know what happened, why she's no longer in Teak, but we know something happened, and her powers, and like the fact that she came from a much more matriarchal society and now has to live in a patriarchal society. I thought was super interesting. And yeah, I just really loved her and Serafio and their relationship growing. It was like so good. It was just like quite slow, but like I understood it, and they really set it up well. And I was like kicking my feet, like I love this. Was there, I don't know, I'm trying to think of, like, you know, when you make lots of notes, but it's mostly just like exclamation points because I love it.
So,
I'm like,
so far about like Serapio, I really feel like, I mean, he's being set up to basically be the villain of the book, but he doesn't read as such, because to him, like, okay, that's my destiny, the end. There's nothing more to it. And also what Hanan just said, because like he is quite boyish still. I mean, obviously, I mean, I don't want to say his mom did him dirty, but to do all that to like a boy of, I don't know, 10 or something, I don't think she would win Mother of the Year award, but so he hasn't had a lot of like experiences as a child, I guess, that most children would have had. And so like I really like seeing like he's still in awe of things that he sees, and I think that makes him really interesting as a character.
Yeah, I agree. Because, like, when you really think about it, he's actually the youngest of the main characters. He's only like 22. I think Jala said she's like 5 years or 6 years older than him. And then obviously Narampa is like 30 something. And I don't actually remember how old is the other guy, but he's definitely like gone for college and all that. So yeah, it's like he is like just a child who was super sheltered. Like Hanan said, she like super sheltered, but then also trained by some really abusive people to basically be a killing machine. And then has a disability, but also like other things that do make him powerful. So yeah, it was so endearing to like have him kind of miss his humanity. I don't know if you got there yet, Femke, but there's definitely like a section where he's basically saying meeting Jal is the first time that made him want to maybe just be Serafio the man, or make him think about what that could have been versus just being the vessel for the crow god. And it broke my heart, but it was definitely like a very, I don't know, I love a good tragic doomed lovers / people. Like it was just so, it hurts so good and so bad. And there's a scene where they do like the this is our last day together on Earth kind of thing. Let's just like have fun, and I'm sucker for it. So yeah, I also love him. I love her, and I love that storyline, and I'm scared for the sequel.
Yeah. So like in order to avoid spoilers, I just had the part where he did a thing on the boat, like a big thing involving lots of birds.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because it's almost like Zhao is like at least she's a catalyst of how I felt about him. It's like, oh, he's pretty bad. Like, he doesn't really care about killing. But then also he's so cute and so nice and so kind. And you're like, I'm confused.
He's not inherently bad. He doesn't feel inherently bad.
But he does bad things for whatever reason, you know, he has to do them. But yeah. Yeah, when I really love the flashbacks. I feel like they really added color to his experience.
Yeah, anyway. I was just sitting here like, no, don't smash the carvings. Don't do it, my poor baby.
Yeah, when he defended the carvings, I was like, yes, show her.
Oh. And especially like the crow one, like his first carving. I was like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was really cool. And then Jala, I also really love her, and I do think that she's a very interesting character. Like Hannah says, she craves community, but the prejudice she faces precludes her from finding it easily. And anyone could switch up on her, understanding her heritage. And I think it was really, really great to see, like, because at first you open, she's like, oh, she's like a scoundrel, she's a drunk, and you're like, maybe want to put her in a box. But actually, she's like a really nice and kind person, but just had to go through a lot, and it's her way of coping, and it's really sad. And I think it was really lovely for her to find someone that made her feel like she doesn't want to do that anymore. She wants to feel the things, even though it didn't end very well, but you know.
Yeah. I'm scared for that conclusion.
Yeah. Support Seraph's wrongs. Yeah. We support his wrongs and his rights.
To be fair, I don't really, so far, he hasn't really done anything super wrong to me. I'm like, yeah, they got what was coming to them. At least some of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's more like his willingness to do what has to be done kind of thing, which not everybody does. Yeah. And how did you feel about the fact that it wasn't like a linear story? Like, did you enjoy that? Do you think it was done well?
I still think it was pretty linear. It wasn't too bad. Like, it wasn't completely out of order. I like having the flashback scenes and all that. So yeah, so far, like, I didn't find it confusing. I didn't mind it. Sometimes I'm like, to be fair, it helped that it says like where we are in the story. Like, oh, this is so many years ago, or this is like 9 days before the convergence. That helps. I don't even remember what book it was, but that one didn't do that, and it was so confusing to read because I was like, wait, where in the story are we? What is happening? So yeah, I didn't really mind it. I still think it was reasonably linear, and at the very least, like, explained pretty well where we were on the timeline.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It was quite easy if you paid attention to like understand. But I quite enjoyed it. I kind of liked seeing, like, sometimes you see like 1 day before convergence, then you go back to 2 days before convergence, and I was like, ooh, a little sneak peek. Like, I enjoyed it. I wonder if they're gonna do that for book 2, which I would imagine probably. Yeah. The way Roanhorse reveals the layers to Jala, we start off see her guard up and slowly see more vulnerability from her. A rewarding reading experience for real. I agree. I'm scared for book 2, but very excited because it could go badly, but it could be amazing as well.
Second books are always a bit
risky.
Yeah.
We must speak about the family reunion we saw because I have things to say. Which one?
I was just about to say, I don't think I've had a family reunion. Except like brother and sister of the Carrion Crow. But
well, there was brother and sister of the Carrion Crow. Then there was I think this refers to Narampa and her brother. Which was an amazing scene.
I'm very nearly there.
Oh, okay. Well, Kara, what did
She's
you think?
like she's in the gambling house. That's where she's at right now.
Okay, so you really
And the
are.
brother just interrupted them. So I'm like right at the precipice.
I think that I like how like the discussion illustrated how complex her brother's feelings were towards her, because he was mad that she left, but at the same time he also said, well, if it were me, I would have done the same thing. So there was both empathy and hatred at the same time going on in him. So I really like that because, you know, like we saw like that, hey, yeah, I still love her, but like I'm pissed off at her. So I don't know, like there was a whole duality to that. And it's like she was scared to come back, but she needed him, and he realized like that he could be like that safe space for her when he wasn't able to before.
Mm. Yeah, no, I think you're totally right, and I really enjoyed it because it was such a tense scene. Because I honestly was like, I don't know where this is going. It could, he could like kind of how he was like you said, upset, but also still loving her and still willing to help. I was like, oh, he could just like try to murder her like right now. Like it was played so well in terms of like his feelings, and it was held very close to the vest. And it was to me it was wild that she's not once stuck to him in the 20 years that passed. I thought she did, and it was like down hashed or whatever, but she really didn't. And that like kind of hit. Like I totally understand where he was coming from. Like it was terrible what happened to him. At the same time, yeah, he probably would have done the same. But even though she left, she could have like tried to help them, but she kind of just left and was really happy to tell everyone that he's dead, which would have obviously hurt. But yeah, it's super tense scene, and like I felt kind of on the brother's side in a lot of the things he said, which were fair, but then also she had to do what she had to do. Yeah, it was a good scene. You have something to look forward to, MK.
That's good.
I do feel like he helped her so quickly. Wish we had got a little more from them in general. Me too. I feel like that's gonna come in book 2 because obviously she's gonna need more help in book 2. So
Honestly, I feel like there weren't enough pages in the book to do things more slowly than some of them happen
yeah.
now. But
Yeah, it was quite,
yeah.
Actually that brings me there's something so compelling about the writing style. Totally agree. I like run through it. Like I will say, if I had to like go to bed and I just finished both chapters, I was like, I'm okay to wait around past chapters tomorrow, but I still really enjoyed it, and I think it was super readable, and it had like it had a great like accessible reading style, but everything about this felt very adult and like mature and sophisticated in a sense. I will say one thing Femke, you won't know, but Kira, one thing to me that I was a bit like, I don't know how I feel about this because it felt very quick and understated was like Serafio becoming the crow god and that scene from his perspective. I just felt like part of me was like, wow, it felt very quick, but at the same time it didn't feel rushed. It just felt like very matter of fact. I don't know, and I don't know if it's in a good way or bad way. I kind of was hoping it would be like a very big bombastic thing, like with like descriptions, but it was quite, I don't know if you feel the same way, but yeah, it was quite understated.
I mean, it was a little bit, but like I feel like the author like did that for the sake of like trying to make it more of a realistic scene rather than a super fantastical scene, because most of like what she was hitting for, especially like in the emotional aspects, I feel like were realism, and I feel like she did that too, like to kind of make it like more of a consistent like voice, not overdoing it. Because of that, she wanted to like make sure like that it felt more like of a realistic kind of magic system, like rather than a highly fantastical one.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Actually, it'd be great to talk about the magic system because it is such the whole magic system is understated. I'm like, some of it is like people claim it's not magic but science, like the future reading thing, and then obviously Teak have their own magic, and that got quite fantastical. I'm sure we're going to explore it more, but yeah, the crow god is like, yeah, it was the magic system is very soft for sure. I think like very like things happen and each culture has their own magic, but I quite enjoyed it. But yeah, I don't know if you felt the same or what you think.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a soft magic system. They don't have a lot of rules. Like, they don't talk about like that there's like rules that structure like the magic system. Not to mention the fact that there's so many different types of magic going on like in the book. So I don't feel like they would have had time really to kind of structure that without like, you know, spending a bunch of time just dedicated to discussing each magic system. But they all use different things to propel the magic forward. And I think like that's kind of the key thing to that.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that actually because it felt like each culture had their own magic and it made each culture feel like very distinct and vibrant. And overall, I think one of my favorite parts of the book is like, yeah, the cultures and the different peoples and how real they feel. I didn't have a map in my book, which was very sad because I really wanted to see where everything was, but apparently there is a map. So that was disappointing. But yeah,
It is.
I think I do have one, even in my like iPad.
It's on the end papers.
Oh, it's so nice.
And then the back one has a completely different map. Like that's the like this is the maw right here.
Yeah.
And that's the Sun Rock. It was right here in the center. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have those in my iPad as well. Oops, that was wrong.
Nothing. Not much. Nothing. Me and Han were like bitching about there not being a map, and then she thanks in the acknowledgements for the map maker, and we're like, "What map?" So I guess that's where the maps went.
That's a bit of a bitch move to just not include that in a paperback.
I know. It's very upsetting. And
so it looks like they have it in the second book too.
I hope mine will have maps.
But yeah, it's the exact same maps like on the front and back in the second book.
Well, I'll be hoping for a map. I feel like I wanted to ask you something, but I completely forgot. I guess, what are you most excited about for... Oh, I think I know. Yeah, so basically, at the end of the book, each of our main characters is like a question mark. Let's put it that way. And their stories.
Okay.
Kira will know, but like, yeah, all of them have like a lot. And I feel like that's very exciting because you can do a lot with that in a sequel. But, you know, we all, I think, heard like some rumblings that the sequel wasn't maybe as good. So I'm just like hoping it's good. But what are you excited about the most to explore further in book 2?
I really want to see how he progresses like in his role as the Crow God. Like I wonder like what that's going to entail, like what that's going to look like, how that's going to change him as a person. You know, like I'm just really curious like to know like about his character development and like what it's going to look like.
Okay.
So, random question. Does he gain his eyesight back once he becomes the god? Because I feel like that's been hinted at, and it's not the fact that he's been blinded, it's just that his eyes have been sewn shut. But it's been hinted at that his eyeballs still work fine. So does he like get his eyesight back?
Not really, no. But also, like, almost we don't get time enough to find out, if that makes sense. Like, maybe
because I feel like in the beginning when his mom was, you know, doing her thing, bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
When his mom was doing her thing, I feel like she said something to the likes of, you know, once you fulfill your destiny, you will see again, something like that.
I think she says, once you become the crow, you open your eyes or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So
that kind of happens, but he doesn't really get his eyesight back.
Okay.
Yeah. Him staring at the sun kind of did a ton of retinal damage because you're not really supposed to do that.
Fair enough.
You know? And I was wondering like the same thing. I was just like, well, he stared into that sun an awfully long time, you know? And I kind of like wondered like the same thing, like reading the book. And I'm like, I wonder if he's actually going to be able to see though.
Yeah, I thought the same, to be fair, because it was talking about him opening his eyes and stuff. So I thought maybe he would, or maybe if not see like a normal person, like kind of magic way of seeing, you know, how I don't know, like silhouettes or something, or like energy beams. I don't know, but we don't really know that at the end of the book. Maybe.
Fair enough. To be fair, I didn't even take into account all the damage that would have done to his eyes to just stare into the sun. But
Yeah. I can say what my most anticipated is, and then with Femke, you can say from obviously the knowledge you have right now. I think for me, it's actually Zala. I'm so excited to learn more about Teak, about why she was exiled, what the future holds for her full magic, like to the fullest extent of it. Yeah, I'm super excited to learn more about that because I feel like that's been hinted at, but not entirely explored. And to be fair, maybe I need to wait till book 3 because I'm pretty sure that's her on the cover of it versus like book 2 that looks to me more like a sun god type of thing, at least on these ones.
But isn't the second one like Narampa, like Sun Priest?
Yeah, so I think the second one's Narampa, so that's why I'm like, I think the third one is Yala on the cover, but maybe hopefully they'll obviously slowly unveil everything and we'll learn more.
Yeah, pretty sure that's Yala. I have the book here in front of me. Pretty sure that's her, or at least someone from Teak.
Yeah, so that's what I'm excited about. What about you, Femke?
So I find it really hard to say right now because I just don't know exactly what's going to happen. I guess I'm just most excited to see at this point, how the interaction between Ziala and Serapio are going to go, and then how that is going to progress into the second book. If that is going to progress into the second book, I guess. So yeah, honestly, I'm pretty much at this point excited about everything but Narampa.
Yeah. Okay, was there anything else that you guys were like burning to talk about?
So Zala, like at the beginning, I really was kind of like wondering. They kind of played her off as a siren right at the beginning, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But like as we get into it, I'm like, oh, she's actually a mermaid siren thing, like completely different, like kind of a mashup of a siren and a mermaid.
Yeah, I was so excited because I love mermaids, and I don't know, books of mermaids just never really deliver what I want from them. So I was like, a good mermaid book. But yeah, no, totally. That's why I think I'm so excited because I'm like, I'm so ready to see Teak, their society, the mermaids, and all that. And yeah, it was kind of really cool how it was a shock to her too, and how that was like just touched upon but not explored. So yeah.
Did you read Into the Drowning Deep?
Not yet. I have it. I've been waiting to read it for years. It's on my TBR.
Did you read it, Gabby, or not?
I did, and I really liked it. To be fair, I really liked it, but that's because I read both the first book and this prequel, but then there was supposed to be a sequel, but I don't think there will be a sequel. So that kind of like, because I feel like Into the Drowning Deep, it was like it started so strong, and towards the end it got really rushed because we were like, okay, we'll explain everything in book 2, but now there isn't a book 2.
I know.
Kind of like, no.
I know. Like I really liked how that was set up, and then I was like, what?
Yeah, so not to turn you off it, Kira, but I really enjoyed the prequel actually because that was like its own contained story. So I quite enjoyed that. But I actually, if you want mermaid book recs, I just read Mermaids Never Drown. It's like a short story collection, and I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
Yeah, I also just want to kind of give a shout out, I guess, to like the casual way that genders and everything is included in this book. Like non-binary, but also the casual mention of trans characters. And I don't mean casual in like a negative way, but just as like something that is normal, that is incorporated into the world. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily something we need to discuss in depth, but just like shout out to that. I appreciated that.
I agree.
Yeah, 100% I agree, and I really loved like that Zala was bisexual, and it was just all very organic and felt like really a part of the world, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, there wasn't any fuss about it.
No.
It's just the way it is.
Yes.
Yes. And it was the first time I think I saw the, I don't actually know how you pronounce it, je, zir, those pronouns, like they, them, but the X ones.
Yeah.
Never seen that in a book before, I don't think.
No, same.
Is that the one with the disappearing ships? Yes. Like the Drowning Deep? Yes. And did I read the prequel? I did, and I actually maybe liked it more because it actually felt like a complete story.
Yes,
Near
it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pseudonym for Sean Maguire.
Mm-hmm.
I think you did read that for the Howling Pack.
Yes, yes, we did.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have your copies yet? I ordered it. Mine is coming on Monday. I'm so excited.
No, they're in my Amazon basket right now because I figured I should probably do that.
You probably already have it, right, Kira? Because you were showing us the maps. So.
Yeah, the second one.
Look at it shine. I remember hating that cover when it first came out. Now I'm kind of like, I don't hate it.
I still don't think they're super coherent if you have all three of them next to each other. I don't know. I mean, the lettering is the same and all that, but
yeah, I kind of agree. And book 3 especially, that looks like completely just different.
they like the lettering is the same and then like the font and everything, but I don't know. They just don't seem really cohesive. It's kind of putting me off.
I know, but I was like, this one's so good. I want to own them, but
no, for sure. But it's just like, I don't know. I remember that when they announced the cover for the second book, I was like, like the meme, like the ew, brother, ew. That feeling. I was like, did they just, change styles halfway through once again? And I was like, no, they didn't really, but it just, I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem cohesive.
I kind of agree. Larissa is gonna next read the second book for the second time. I love it. Oh, sorry. Real. I do agree. I think it grew on me slightly because I really hated it with Burning Passion. Now I'm like, it's eye-catching. Like, this is why I like this one because it's so, like, distinct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's distinct. So I think, yeah, maybe they could have put the little thing, like, somewhere off the page so this wasn't, like, full page.
Yeah, but it's like there is no cohesion between any of the three books. It's not even if you put the third and the first together, you're like, oh, these are the same series. It's like, if you would have told me like these are three entirely separate books, I would have believed you too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't hate it with like a burning passion, but it's kind of enough to turn my ick on. It's like,
yeah,
I'm not super fond of this.
Yeah, at least I visually like the third book. I agree it doesn't go with the others, but I like the image.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of less mad because I'm like, if you just did something ugly, but then if it fit, is that better? I don't know. I guess we'll
individually, I don't hate them per se, but again, they don't look to be books in the same series to me. Yeah. It is, the second one is my least favorite out of the three, but I mean, still,
That's very funny.
Yeah.
The Gerber baby. I don't know if you know that. Okay, any theories for book 2?
I'm still working on my theories for book 1, so.
What about you, Kira?
I don't know if it'll happen in the second book or the third book, but I feel at some point, because of the feelings like that Zyla woke up in Serpio, at some point she is going to be his weakness. At some point. Because I feel like, I don't know, like I have a feeling like he's still going to be in there, somewhere. and she really touched a very deep, like longing in him that he didn't know was there. So I feel like at some point something's going to happen and he's going to be like, oh God, like I can't do this to her or something like that. Or, like this is going to affect her in some way. And, like I just have that feeling.
He's not even really in there anymore at the end of book 1, or like not present.
It's kind of ambiguous.
Okay.
But that's the expectation. Like he expects to die so the god can take him as a vessel.
Fair enough.
But I totally agree. I was so expecting the finale to be something like this of this book. Maybe it's like the further. I was expecting him to be his little crow god thing, and I thought Giala was gonna sing, like capital S sing, and that song was gonna like keep him there. But that's not what happened. But I kind of thought something like that could happen because I totally agree. I think setting up that they have this connection and him wanting to have a life, I think it'd be really cool if he was like in the back of the crow god's like mind, being like pecking away or something. Because like
hello.
the book ended kind of. I thought he was still there, but I mean it was very ambiguous, so we don't know. For me, oh no, I forgot mine. Okay, Femke, do you have any just like any? Well, I think because I forgot my theory for book 2.
Yeah, not really. I mean, kind of what Larissa says, like mayhem. That's pretty much my theory right now because, like I said, I'm still in my book 1 theories because I haven't finished it yet. Then once I finish book 1, I might have theories for book 2, and I will probably let you know in our Twitter. But
Please do.
Right now, I'm just
mine. Sorry. I remember mine. So basically, at the end, the sun and they're like the bodies in the thing are in the sky are stuck almost, and I feel like that's because they stopped because neither the sun. Well, sorry, spoilers. Neither the sun priest dies nor the crow god, so they're kind of at this like stalemate, and I feel like the stalemate will like the sky will just remain frozen until one of them perishes and one of them wins. So definitely curious to see that because obviously that's Narampa and Serafio, and I'm curious to see how they're going to resolve that conflict. I mean, I really hope that Narampa loses to Serafio. Not that I want her dead, but I just want him alive more than her. But maybe that's the way. Like something there maybe will cause maybe something like about the crow god like going to sleep or whatever. I don't know, we'll restart the skies and Serafia will be free or something. But I'm super curious to see the damage. I hope they make some like actual environmental and stuff damage, because I feel like if the sun was stuck in the same place in the sky, that would make big impact on the environment and the waves and blah blah blah. So curious. I hope that's kind of how I read the ending. I don't actually know if that's actually what happened. I was kind of like, I'm confused, but yeah, that's kind of how I read it.
Well, I mean, I know like that we're stuck like in the middle of the convergence. Like it hasn't ended yet. I don't know if it's going to end, like you said, or like if they're just going to continue on like with the storyline and have it end, and then like a bunch of like other conflicts are going to happen like under the surface.
True. I would expect it to end by the end of book 2, but maybe I read too much into it. But to me, it kind of felt like it was neither the darkness, neither the sun, because both are alive. And it kind of feels like that is like an imbalance in the world kind of thing. But because they actually changed, I don't know if you noticed, but after everything that happened, it said first year of the crow year or crow god or whatever. Like
no, I didn't even know that.
Yes, so you know how normally it says year 325 of the sun. The chapter after everything goes down is year 1 of the crow. So to me, that was like, oh shit, we're like starting a new era. And super curious what that means. Yeah, year 1 of the crow. So yeah, I want to know what that means. What's year 1 of the crow like? So yeah, but technically the sun god is not defeated, so all the sun priests or whatever. So yeah,
fair enough. We shall see, I guess. We shall see. Or, well, we will read, I suppose.
Oh, I did like want to say something else too. Like, so when we like were reading like the Bone Shard Daughter, like we all had a problem like with the emotional development, like it didn't feel realistic, you know. And I feel like the opposite was true of this because they did have time to form a relationship. Like there was actual chemistry in this, unlike that book. You know, I think it's a perfect example of like how not to make chemistry. But the the I like the fact like that she was like so like, you know, sexually like active like at the beginning, and that like really mattered to her. Like she was gonna go out and get drunk and have a wild time. And then she met him and it's just like she settled down, like it's like, oh, we're not gonna, you know, like do things, and like that's okay. Because I would still rather be with you than go out and be with somebody like where I have meaningless like, you know, emotions with. So like I loved how like it felt like it was more like than just skin deep. Like, and they really like kind of drove that home, like with her contrast to who she was at the beginning, and the fact that she was continuing to be tempted by that lifestyle. And she's like, no, I'm just gonna stay here and be miserable with you.
Oh, I love that scene. You're right. She was like, well, I'm kind of mad at you, but rather sit with you here being kind of mad than like go off and do stuff. And he was like, just go, have fun. She's like, nah. But I totally agree. I loved it. And I think it was like showing also how she used like alcohol and sex to like fill a void in her life. And because that it's like kind of said, like she just craved companionship so much. And then once she found someone to fill that void, it was not necessary to have those crutches anymore. But yeah, honestly, I don't like, I just cared about the two of them so much. And I love when that happens, when it's like done really well and you're like, oh my God. But yeah, I agree. We went from Bone Shard Daughter, which is like terrible chemistry, to Shadowed Sun and Killing Moon, which is like not really like very complicated relationships, but it wasn't about romance. To now like having an amazing relationship.
And I feel like in the Bone Shard Daughter, the only pairing that did have chemistry, they killed off one of the two.
True.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, who picked this? I feel like, was it you, Kira? You usually pick our stuff, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
I think Kira threw it into the void as an option. Yeah.
Well, great job.
There's so many options that we have to discuss because I have a lot of ideas for next year. So
yeah, I mean, everyone, this is like an inside. Basically, Kira runs this show, and we just read what she suggests.
We just go along with it. We just like, oh, well, yeah, sounds good. And
this year you're doing great. Like, well, obviously this is just book one, but we love the previous series, and now we're loving this, so it's really good.
Yeah. Next year in June,
we pretty much have the years like solidified, right? So
yeah, wait for it.
It's this trilogy and then another one this year, and then, you know, with some breaks in between for us to catch our breath and December and all that. That's basically it for this year. So
true.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited for next series. Not that we're spoiling it, but I bought the physical book yesterday, and I was like,
I have the first two, and I'm still waiting for my like pre-order link for the third one from Gold's Pro because I need them sprayed edges.
Nice. I have I had the first one as an ebook. Now I have the physical, and that they didn't have the second one, which made me very upset. So I'll just go sometime other time. That's it for this year. I know, time flies. But that's like 6 months, right? So
yeah, it's 6 months with 2 months of break, and we're already in month 6. So 6 plus. Wait, I can't. I can't.
Well, there's 5 books left. So that
yeah, sorry, yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Try to guess based on the hints.
We didn't really give hints.
Well, except that we gave hints. Then they know that there's a Hasbro edition, that the third one's coming out soon. I already read it once because I had the ebook, and now I'm rereading in physical.
To be fair, I have the physical ones. I'm probably going to buy the ebooks because I don't think my wrists are going to take that.
Well, the paperback's not too bad.
Yeah, but I have the hardcovers.
Yeah, that I would imagine would be heavy.
Oh, check the private chat really quick. I have a suggestion for that, like to kind of like make it like a little bit more fun.
I mean, go for it.
So
Wait, go for it. It didn't load for me, but I trust.
we've read a series by this author before.
Yes. And I think we universally loved it.
Yeah.
Most of the books.
Yeah.
Except for that one book, right, Gabby?
Yes. Oh. It was one of the first ones, right?
So it was towards the beginning of when we
started with Laini Taylor with Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which you initiated.
Yes. I feel like we all Laini Taylor so much because it was my love for her work that got us together, and I'm so happy it did.
I am so mad that she still has not published a new book, and she's been teasing it for like 4 years now, and I'm like, I want that book.
But I am rereading Strange the Dreamer this year, and I'm going to read Muse of Nightmares. That's my little treat to myself.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get my Laini Taylor.
Yeah. See, like for me, I really want to reread it. But then I'm kind of scared too, because, what if I don't still like it as much? And I have like a pretty big tattoo of it on my back. See, that would be problematic.
The tattoo can be of the things that the book gave you at the time,
I mean, I don't have to say, I could just say that it's a moth, because it's like the Strange the Dreamer moth.
Oh, that's really cool. I'm looking at now. That's pretty.
I'm not going to lift up my shirt because it's pretty high up my back, but I have a photo somewhere.
Like, keep it PG.
Oh, I love that.
Wow, that's huge.
It's not as big as it looks. This photo makes it seem really big, but it's not as big as it looks. I think it's like this size. It's like, I think 20 centimeters across.
That's still quite big.
Yeah, but it's like, it looks bigger on here, but it's not that big.
Wait, are we telling people if they guessed right?
I'm going to say it's not Bennett. That's all I'm going to say.
Who's
Jackson
Bennett?
True.
Robert Jackson Bennett.
That's the...
Oh, is that Foundry Side?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am planning to read his new book, though, but I think only the first one came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like looking at that too. I was like, oh, he's got a new book out.
I don't know. He still traumatized me with the third one.
I think we should wait 3 years, and then when the last book comes out, we can read it all as part of the read-along.
Right. It's like, I totally just recommend it to Esme. Like, hey, if you want to read that, I'd absolutely say go for Foundry Side. Like, with my whole heart, I can tell you to read it. And then maybe read the second one, and then I'll just tell you what happened in the third one. Because you shouldn't waste time on that.
No, I still kind of liked it. It was one of those that, like, I recently read this book as well, which was, it's called... I don't remember, Tatami Galaxy, and it's this super weird, it's a Japanese origin, translated. It's about this guy living his parallel lifetimes, and I was like, that was not enjoyable to read, but I can't stop thinking about it, and I feel like that's how I feel about Foundry Side. The ending, it's like, but made me think, but was it enjoyable?
It just made me mad, and I mean, Esme and I are very similar in our reading tastes. You will be very hard pressed to find a book that we either both like, that we find, have completely different opinions of, except perhaps sci-fi. Especially when it comes to fantasy, we share very similar opinions. So I'm like 95% sure she will hate it as well.
That's fair. That's fair.
So like, absolutely go for Foundry Side because it was fantastic, and Clay is still perfect.
Top tier.
You know what? Maybe like later on, like, like maybe like towards the end of like next month, we'll come up like with an emoji hint, for what we're going to read. And then we can take guesses on Twitter.
I'm terrible with keeping secrets. I'm so tempted to just tell everyone.
I love it. Let's do the emoji thing. And I feel like I have some emoji ideas already. Like,
yeah.
I'm just so excited. I didn't get to read Foundry Side Book 3 at the same time as you because paperback. So I plan to get to it. I'm worried because this next one you might have the same issue. I'm just gonna buy the ebook and then wait for paperback a year.
So I feel like I feel like if you like waited to read Foundry Side, you may not experience like that, like that disconnect like in the voice,
Yeah.
the same like way, because like it's been a while. You're not like it's not going to be like maybe as prevalent if
Yeah.
you have waited. So actually, Tufty, it might be into your advantage. You might actually like it more than us because you waited to read it.
Yeah.
That's very true, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because like for me, that was one of the biggest issues. That it was so vastly different from the first two. And like there's a pretty good reason why, but because you were like so into that series at that point, it just felt like what? Like
It's true.
is this am I reading the right book?
Please do tell us.
Yes.
All right. Was there anything else? Should we? When's the reading sprints next ones? Is it the 16th?
Yeah, 2 weeks I think. So I think we said 16th of June for the reading sprints and then 30th of June for the book discussion.
Okay.
Indeed.
We tried to keep it somewhat structured this time around.
For the first time.
And we basically actually already planned the entire year. We already kind of picked dates for it.
Yes. I still suck because I probably won't be able to make it to 16th reading sprints because it's my cousin's bachelorette party, but I'll be there for the live show. So that's
awesome.
Yeah. That's sorted.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure we planned stuff for September and I'll just be sitting in Peru in September and probably not reading a book. So
it's okay. At least you're the chillest of us about spoilers.
I don't care about spoilers at all. Like it's either me being this way, like not being able to just keep up with deadlines and everything and then just being chill about spoilers, or I would just have to suck it up and finish the books, so it's like either or. And I just I don't care about spoilers. Like I'm the person that starts a movie and just looks up the entire plot on Wikipedia 10 minutes in because I just want to know what happens.
Patience in Padua.
I don't deal well with surprises, especially not if there's like characters that die.
I don't know. I love being surprised, but I also am super curious. So I will sometimes. It's like I was watching Fallout, and I was like, let me just real quick Google like character art for. I'm like, no, don't read the plot. Don't read because I really want to watch a video that explains the differences between the show and the games. But I'm like, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else anyone wanted to share? I'm always like, oh, we won't go to an hour, and then we do, and it's always fun.
And we actually did talk about the book for at least 45 minutes of this hour. So
yeah.
We did pretty good.
I think so.
Well, thank you everyone who joined, even those who didn't read it but just wanted to hang out. We especially appreciate you. And then Larissa, who's read it many, many times. And we also appreciate you.
We appreciate all of you.
All of you. Helen, who read it for the first time, thank you. Always insightful. We'll see you on the 16th. And then book 2 is the 30th. So.
Yeah.
All right. Ending the stream. Bye, everyone.
Slow wave.